Commander Jake Morrison stared at the screen in front of him. The numbers didn't make sense. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. The same impossible readings stared back at him. "Amy, come look at this." He called to Lieutenant Amy Carter, who was checking the coffee machine across the room. Amy walked over, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor of the orbital defense station. The station was called New Horizon, and it floated in space between Earth and the Moon. It was Jake's job to watch for anything strange coming from deep space. "What's wrong with the sensors now?" Amy asked. "The sensors broke down a lot. Most of the time it was just space junk or old satellites." Jake pointed at the screen. "Look at these energy readings. 12 massive objects just appeared at the edge of our solar system. They're slowing down from nearly light speed." Amy's face went pale. Nothing natural could do that. "Are you sure the sensors aren't broken? I've run 3 different checks. The readings are real." Jake's hands were shaking as he typed commands into his computer. "Amy, these things are huge. Each one is the size of a small moon." Amy grabbed the emergency phone. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the fear underneath. "Command, this is New Horizon Station. We have a code black situation. 12 unknown objects approaching the solar system." While Amy talked to command, Jake kept watching the screen. The objects were definitely slowing down. They were also moving in perfect formation. This wasn't an accident or natural event. Someone was driving these things. Down on Earth, Dr. Lisa Webb was eating lunch when her emergency phone rang. She was the world's top expert on alien life, though until today she had never seen any proof that aliens existed. "Dr. Webb, please. Report to International Space Command immediately." "This is not a drill," the voice on the phone said. Lisa dropped her sandwich and ran to her car. The drive to the Space Command building took 20 minutes. When she arrived, she saw military vehicles everywhere. Soldiers were running around with serious looks on their faces. General Pete Collins met her at the door. He was a big man with gray hair and worried eyes. "Lisa, we need you to look at something. We're getting signals from space." They rushed to the communications room. The room was full of computers and screens. People in military uniforms sat at desks, wearing headphones and typing frantically. "What kind of signals?" Lisa asked. "Listen to this," Pete said. He pressed a button, and strange sounds filled the room. The sounds were like nothing Lisa had ever heard. They were musical but also mechanical, like singing robots. "We think it's some kind of language," Pete said. "Our computers are trying to translate it, but we need your help." Lisa put on headphones and listened carefully. The sounds repeated in patterns. There were definitely rules to the language, like grammar. After an hour of listening, she started to understand some simple words. "General," she said, taking off the headphones. "I think I know what they're saying." Pete looked hopeful. "What is it?" Lisa's face was grim. "They're asking us to surrender. They say we should give up now or they will destroy everything." Meanwhile, in space near Jupiter, Captain Ben Taylor was having the worst day of his career. His ship, the Freedom's Edge, was the most advanced warship humans had ever built. It was fast, heavily armed, and had the best technology Earth could make. But Ben knew it wasn't enough. "Captain, incoming message from Earth Command," said Lieutenant Kate Phillips. She was his tactical officer, responsible for weapons and defense systems. "Put it through," Ben said. General Collins' voice came through the speakers. "Captain Taylor, you are to establish a defensive line between Jupiter and Mars. Buy us as much time as possible." Ben looked at his crew. There were 37 people on his ship. They were all good soldiers, but they were facing something impossible. "Understood, Command. We'll do our best." In the engine room, Tony Rodriguez was checking the ship's power systems. Tony was the best engineer in the fleet, but even he was worried. The ship's weapons were powerful, but they were designed to fight other human ships, not alien vessels the size of moons. "Kate, what do our sensors tell us about those alien ships?" Ben asked. Kate looked at her screens. "Captain, I'm reading energy shields around each vessel. The shields are incredibly strong. Our weapons might not even scratch them." Ben nodded grimly. What about their weapons? Unknown, sir. But if they can build shields that strong, their weapons are probably just as powerful. Back on the alien ships, War Marshal Thekvar was reviewing reports about the human species. The reports were not impressive. Humans had barely left their home planet. Their fastest ships were slow and crude. Their weapons were primitive chemical explosives and simple nuclear devices. How long until we reach their home world? Thekvar asked his second-in-command. 14 of their solar rotations, War Marshal. Should we prepare for a long siege? Thekvar made a sound that might have been laughter. A siege? Against these primitives? We will crush them in less than one rotation. They are insects compared to us. The alien had fought 17 different species across the galaxy. Some had been more advanced than others, but all had fallen to the Zephyrian Empire. These humans would be no different. But Thekvar was making a mistake. He was judging humans by their technology, not by their nature. Humans were different from the other species he had conquered. They were unpredictable, creative, and desperate. Most importantly, they were willing to do anything to survive. As the alien fleet moved deeper into the solar system, emergency meetings were happening on Earth. World leaders were gathering to decide humanity's response. Some wanted to try talking to the aliens. Others wanted to fight. Dr. Lisa Webb stood in front of the United Nations Security Council. Based on the messages we've received, these aliens have no interest in negotiation. They see us as inferior and want us to surrender without a fight. What happens if we surrender? Asked the President of the United States. Lisa looked at her notes. Based on what we've learned about their language, they plan to use Earth as a resource extraction site. They would keep some humans as workers, but most of the population would be eliminated. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. There would be no surrender. Humanity would fight, even if the odds were impossible. How long do we have? Asked the Prime Minister of Britain. Our ships will try to slow them down, but probably not more than 2 weeks, Lisa answered. 2 weeks to prepare for the end of the world. It didn't seem like enough time. But humans had survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. They would find a way to survive this too. The alien fleet continued its approach, confident in their superior technology and experience. They had no idea that they were about to face the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Sub-Marshal Creedon stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the asteroid belt grow larger on the main screen. The rocks floating in space between Mars and Jupiter looked harmless enough. His sensors showed nothing but dead stone and ice. War Marshal Thekvar wants a status report, his communications officer said. Creedon barely looked up from his tactical display. Tell him we will reach the 4th planet in 6 rotations. The humans have placed some ships near the asteroids, but nothing worth our concern. The alien commander had fought in 12 conquest campaigns. He had seen desperate species try